What's up, guys? I'm Mike from Stocked Up. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about futures, what they are, and how you can use them to see if a market is going to gap up or down before it actually happens. So, to start off, what are futures? So, futures, they're kind of like stocks. They trade 23 hours a day. They open on Sunday evenings. And they trade 23 hours a day, and they are extremely leveraged, and you need relatively a lot of money to play them. So yeah, they trade 23 hours a day. That's the main thing. So what we could see is, I'm on Thinkorswim right now. There's a ton of different kind of futures. There's S&P 500 futures. There's gold futures. There's cattle futures. There's corn futures. There's silver futures. There's a ton of them, right? So if you're not on Thinkorswim or if you're on Robinhood, you're going to have to see the futures on CNBC.com or just a different website. So to see the S&P 500, the Dow, and the NASDAQ futures, go over to CNBC.com, click pre-market, and then you could see the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ, and then even the oil, and then the 10-year bond futures. So what these futures do is, if the futures are up, right, they're trading 23 hours a day. This is pretty much just like another stock, right? It's pretty much the market. So if the futures are up and the stock market's closed, that means when the stock market opens, the stocks are going to, or at least the S&P 500 is going to gap up to become equal with the S&P 500 futures. So it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but picture this. The stock market closes at 3 o'clock my time. If the futures go up from 3 o'clock till market open the next day, if futures are up, right, and the stock market didn't open yet, and then it opens the next morning, the stock market's going to gap up to be the same thing as the futures. So they move together is what I'm trying to say. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you a prime example. So I am on the S&P 500, right? We could see that on a 5-minute chart, the market closed at $300.70 on Friday, and then at 3 a.m., right? At 3 a.m. this morning, it gapped up to $301.16. So it's about like a 50-cent move. Yeah, about a 50-cent move. Nothing crazy, but it's still a 50-cent move. Like, see what I'm talking about right here? So like, it just opens all the way up here, right? We could have known this before it actually happened. How? So at 3 a.m., I'm going to go to the S&P 500 futures, which is ticker symbol ES, right? /ES. So if I go to them at 3 a.m., we could see how much they were up at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., you could see where my cursor is, right? Here was the close on Friday. Here are the futures at 3 a.m. See how much they went up? So if the futures are up, the stock market is also going to go up. But the only problem is that futures trade throughout the entire night. They're open 23 hours a day. The stock market isn't. So that's why you could predict gap ups, and you'll see me commenting in the Facebook group sometimes when there's like big catalysts. You'll see like, oh, futures are down 200 points. Dow futures are down 200 points. That means that the stock market is going to gap down tomorrow. How did I know that? Because the futures were down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not using like any magical whatever to know that the stock's going to be down, right? If futures are down, stocks are going to be down. If futures are up, stocks are going to be up. Okay? And like I said, there's a ton of different futures. There's gold futures. So if we go to ticker symbol /GC, and if gold futures are up a ton in after hours, you could expect gold stocks to be up the next day, right? So everything works together with each other. If stock futures are up, stocks are going to be up the next day. Okay? They always match each other. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.